Boom. Hey, everybody. This is Crazy Talk. I'm Dave, and that's Dennis.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dennis. It's been a while. We haven't talked in the month of August, I don't think.
No, it's been 2 weeks.
Has the heat kind of knocked you out or what?
Oh, yeah. You know, we're trying to get some stuff done outside, and we do it early. But, man, I was out in it a couple of days ago when it was 105 outside. And I don't feel that heat very often like that, but golly, it knocked me on my butt.
No, it's just crazy. When you see 105, that's not the humidity factored in for the heat index. I mean, the heat index is probably in the teens. So it's August. August in Texas brings nothing but pain. It's just hot.
Yeah, it says 102 today and possible rain this evening and tonight and tomorrow. So.
Man, I got my fingers crossed about that Monday rain. So, you know, you're getting old when you stay up long enough just to watch the weather and then go to bed. So, hey, we had birthdays all across my family. My mother turned 84. My dad turned 86.
Wow.
I'm telling you,
and Dave turns.
Oh, I turned a big milestone. I turned 39 today. That's right. 49.
2 more years and you can file for Social Security.
20 more years, yeah. I'm on the way to Medicare or Medicaid, whatever that's called.
Medicare.
I'm getting closer. And speaking of that, by the way, I know that this is a little different in your world, but in my world, our insurance, comes through our employer. We're a school district, and so the school district offers you your insurance. Now, you can turn it down and go out and buy private insurance, or you can take theirs. Theirs is not the best, but, who's going to go out and shop? So I take the school district insurance, and I called the guy yesterday, the administrator of the plan, because the sign-up's about over. And we changed providers. We went from Aetna to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Oh, good luck with that.
Well, when you do that, though, they're wanting you to sign up, so they drop your premiums. So my premium basically went from like $500 or more a month to $147.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same benefits?
It very similar. A couple of differences, like, I had a copay in my old plan. Now I pay the full doctor visit up to like the first $2,000 or something, and then after that I pay nothing. So in the end, the guy said, look, you're going to save probably $5,000 to $6,000. And I'm like, sign me up, brother. In a day when insurance is going up, up, and up, I just saw mine drop $400 to $500 a month with very similar benefits. So,
and what these folks don't know is that you've had some major problems with that knee replacement.
And knee replacement stuff and everything. So, yeah, it's important to me to get that plan. Yeah. So I like that. Yeah. And, you just don't save money like that very often. So I thought that was kind of a neat thing. So let me tell you, this has been the strangest 2 weeks that I have spent in education in my life. We have started school, and the big clamoring all over the nation is, should we start school? Should kids go back to school? Well, we started this past Wednesday, but the kids stayed home. We started school and no students came.
Wow.
All doing remote learning, distance learning. They were doing learning from home. And so here I'm at a school built for, 1,200 kids. And there's about 60, 70 teachers in the building, a couple administrators, all the secretaries, this kind of thing. Not a single kid. So you walk down the hall and you walk into a teacher's room. There's a teacher, 30 empty desks, teacher at their desk on their computer talking to the students on their computer. All the students are logged in. First period, if you've got Mrs. Smith, then 30 kids are sitting at home, different places, logged in, listening to Mrs. Smith talk about the lesson.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they take roll and everything to make sure everybody.
Yeah, there's definitely an attendance thing, and one of the rules that they have right now is that all 30 kids have got to leave their cameras on, so that you can see them the whole time. Like I can see you right now doing the Zoom, and then everybody's microphones are muted except for the teachers, and if they want to speak, then the teacher can unmute them, or they can put a little signal in the screen that they have a question to raise their hand. And I actually substituted yesterday as an English teacher.
Oh my goodness!
Because there's no subs right now.
Oh really?
So I log in and I'm talking to the teacher's kids each period, and the lessons are up on a different website. And you kind of talk a little bit about the lesson, and they can go to the lesson and click on some of the links and things and do the lesson. And I told them, listen, y'all work for the next 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm going to leave my mic on in case you have a question. I'm just going to do some work at my computer, basically. And I said, but we're all going to come back at, 9:30 or 9:45 or whatever and discuss what it is that you just read or what you just did, and go over that so you'll be prepared for the activity you're going to do based on that on Monday. So it's not a bad thing, the remote process, but it's not ever going to replace that face-to-face thing.
So did everybody come back at 9:30?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. And as a matter of fact, you can easily just say, I'm going to check roll at 9:30. So, they got to come running back. Now, I'm sure that the kids are going to try to scam the system.
Sure.
The other day, one of the teachers didn't have the right settings on their computer, so the kids started muting her. And if she unmuted herself from this kid, some other kid muted her, and then some other kid muted her. So as much as she tried to unmute, they would mute her every time she started talking. And so, you got to be up on the system. And there's the problem with the remote learning thing. Our teachers, probably across the state of Texas at least, are really stressed out right now. Because, teaching in itself is a stressful thing. But now they're asked to be technological giants. And that's just not, for a lot of them, what they're comfortable with. When you and I were talking right before we started our podcast today, it's hard for me and you to get hooked up on this Zoom. It should be easy, but I'm trying to email you, and Yahoo doesn't recognize your email address. And good Lord, you must have. How many email addresses do you have?
3.
Well, then I can't use the same one every time. I've got to log into Yahoo. Yahoo says my password's expired. I have to go through some authentication. And teachers are the same way. They don't know how to turn a document camera into a video camera and then go live and talk. I mean, we train them, but that's not who they are. That's not, most of them didn't grow up like that. Kids today, they're whiz quiz. I mean,
I've got a 6-year-old grandson that knows more on the computer, and he's doing everything on an iPad that we sent him.
Yeah,
and it's working out great for him. And Brianna says that he does real well on it. But talking about the technology, though, did y'all provide every student with a tablet or an iPad or whatever?
Yeah, you're in that situation now where you almost have to, and we did. We provided every student from 8th grade down, they got an iPad. From 9th grade up, they got a Chromebook. The iPads are going to be going away. The Chromebooks, I think, are more useful. But here again, there is this whole pandemic has caused so many problems. So you'd think, well, the school district decided at the end of the year last year they would collect everybody's iPad. They'd clean them up, wipe them clean, issue them in the fall. So now that the fall is around the corner, it's time to issue them. So they said, hey, if you go to middle school XYZ, come Tuesday to get your iPad. They didn't necessarily give a time. Well, 8 to 5, something like that, Dude, they had so many people showing up. People waited in line for 3 hours.
I went to Britt, who lives around the corner from one of the schools, and the line was all the way down. I thought maybe it was they were in line for something else for sure, but had no idea it was for the school.
Well, and trust me, I don't know who made the plan I'm sure they had the right idea, but honestly, you don't just say, "Hey, everybody, show up when you want," because everybody's going to come like what 5 o'clock when they get
Right.
off work, this or that. You simply take the alphabet and you say, if your last name is A, B, C, or D, you come between 8 and 9. If
Right.
your name is F, Y, Z, you come between 9 and 10. And you break it down into segments. And then, for the people that have a conflict, you say, those of you that can't make your assigned time, there will be a session on Saturday or whatever for you to come and kind of do the same process. All of us in education know that, yet our technology people didn't think it that way. And they just said, hey, just come on down and get your iPad. Well, over in the high schools were worse because our high schools have 1,800 kids,
right?
Maybe more than that. And so they just had a riot. And then they did silly things. If you have 2 kids, they wouldn't give you 2 iPads. You had to get back in line for the second iPad.
No way.
So,
oh my gosh. Well, did they find cleaning them up and everything worked? Did once they took them all back?
Well, they just try to wipe anything that the kids downloaded on. They try to do that, and yeah, they're pretty successful. But now I've got parents calling saying they can't get into iTunes or the App Store to get things for like Google Slides or for some other thing because it's been wiped down, and the technology people haven't opened it up yet. And guess why? Because they're so busy passing out iPads, they can't. So there's no support. Parents can't get help. It's just it's a zoo. And I feel for the people who are in charge, but they didn't have a good plan. And
well, now I've got my 14-year-old grandson is in 8th grade, I guess. Yeah. And they gave him a laptop and said that you'll use it throughout the till you're a senior, and then you can keep it. They're not taking them back up.
That's cool.
Yeah. So he'll continue to use the same one.
I'm sure everybody has stories of businesses. I love that old scene from WKRP. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, Cincinnati.
Yeah, they did the free turkey giveaway.
Oh yeah.
They flew over the shopping center and they were going to drop turkeys out of the helicopter.
Out of the helicopter.
And then the result was it was like a mass bombing because the turkeys were frozen.
Right.
And so when they hit the ground, it was like dropping, 25-pound bombs.
Absolutely.
So all good plans sometimes end up kind of in a bad state, and I think that's what happened here. But the remote learning thing, that's what we're stuck with until September 8th. Then, this is going to be the key, a number of the kids will come back to the school, and we will try to have school in a normal type environment, yet we're still in the midst of a pandemic. And that's got a lot of people nervous and scared about the number of kids that are going to be. You can't have groups of more than 10 right now, and we're going to have a school of 600 or 700 easy.
So let me ask you this, though. So the teacher's teaching in class. Is she also doing the online?
Yeah, we had to make an adjustment on that. And so Teacher Smith, first period, may be teaching in an empty room to 30 kids at home. But second period, she may have 30, 40 kids, not 30, 40, but 30, 25, 30 kids walk into her room. And in the next period, she could be back on the computer teaching distance. And so it's going to vary teacher to teacher, subject to subject. But, yeah, and it's a nightmare to try to put together.
It'd be interesting if you could put your online kids on a big screen and you have your class kids in here too, and do them both at the same time.
Well, they don't want that. The powers that be say they do not want any teacher to be assigned both at the same time.
I don't understand why.
I don't know either. Maybe they just think you can't pay attention or it's too much or whatever. But, yeah, if you had 30 up on the screen and you had 15, 20 in the room,
right,
you can knock 2 birds out with 1 stone. That seems to be something that you could do. Now, that is a lot of kids for the teacher to be responsible for in one period. but you could do it. And right now, I'm telling you, as one of the people that's helping trying to put a schedule together, that would probably be helpful, because making a schedule with all these exceptional kind of things, these kids are at home, these kids are here, this teacher's teaching from here, this teacher's teaching here, it's a nightmare. It is just a nightmare.
I never even thought about writing a schedule or making a schedule in the academic world. You know, I've done it all my life in the business side, but had never thought about it having to do it there.
Oh yeah, you've got 1,100 kids in a schedule. You've got 8 periods. You've got 60 some odd teachers. Ready, set, go. Go figure it out. Where do they go? Who do they get? Somebody's doing that. Even if we feed it into the computer, they can't do everything. You've still got to do a lot of it by hand. And I have just been buried this past week trying to put something together that's going to work, and it is not easy. All right, so that's me, and you have been doing the workout in the heat. You're saying goodbye to 2 of your family members, I understand.
Yeah, Teresa's mother's name was Nettie, and my mom's name was Ruby. And so we probably mentioned this before. We've got a couple of cows by that name. And because one of them got out, we had to put them in a smaller pasture with a couple of the donkeys, and they're eating everything. So I don't have enough grass growing, enough pasture. So I've been putting out bales of hay, round bales, and they're eating 1 a week. So at $60 a bale, we decided to go ahead and sell them off. Well, we had a lot of people interested in them, but a lot of them wanted to change their names to like T-bone and ground beef and that. And so I've got a friend that I've known for a lot of years that has about 50, 60 acres outside of Waco, and he's going to take them.
Oh, really?
He told me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but his father-in-law's been sick, and he passed away this last week. And so they've been trying to take care of that and haven't had the time to take care of the cows.
Well, I guess we'll have a going-away party for Bessie and Flossie.
Never thought about that. It's Nettie and Ruby, but
Nettie and Ruby, yeah. Have a little party.
Get them little hats and maybe a cake.
I think you should give them a little streamer, let them blow on the streamer a little bit, and a little bit of cake with grass in the middle, and I think they'd like that.
Oh no, let's have like a chocolate cake, and they probably can't eat that, so we'd have to do that for them.
Well, things are still cooking around this country, Dennis. We've got sports that's back. We've got check this out. You've got the NBA playoffs going on in August. You've got the Rangers who are back playing baseball. And you've got the Cowboys whose football season is firing up. And you've got the Stars in the playoffs. And there's never been a time that all 4 major sports have been playing at the same time. So It's a little bit interesting to go, in August, your choices are the Rangers or nothing. And then the Cowboys get fired up towards the end of August, and then you forget about the Rangers and you watch the Cowboys. But right now you've got hockey, baseball, football, basketball. The Mavs are in the playoffs. The NBA playoffs in August. So it's a crazy time. So are you still hanging on to your I'm boycotting sports ideas?
I am. You could tell me I had no idea hockey was still playing. Basketball, I haven't watched one ball bounce on a court all year. I have to scroll through and I'll see baseball games on, and I don't even turn them on. I don't turn them on.
I haven't seen. The NFL is yet to unveil their games yet, where they have a social justice statement of some kind, and we've seen what the NBA has done, and baseball did a little bit in the very beginning, but I don't see a lot of that going on in their games. Maybe there was a message on the pitcher's mound. I don't know. Each game, I don't know. So, again, you were making the point the last time we were on the air. It's just don't like to mix the two, the politics and the the sports. You just want that escape. And I'd have to say I probably am that way too. I'm not nearly as excited about the sports being back as I thought I would. I think we got along pretty good for a while without him. We found other things to occupy our time.
You know what they're finding out, I bet, and I don't know this for sure, but with all four going on at the same time, and probably, well, include NASCAR in that too, but probably with fewer people watching, they're all vying for that same guy.
Yeah, they had huge ratings on opening night for baseball, but then nobody's talking about the ratings ever since then. I just don't think that the games translate well on TV without fans, without the crowd noise, without the excitement. Now, they're trying to manufacture all that, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. So we'll see. Hey, your Rangers are, in case you want to know, pretty sucky, but they're almost 500, which would put them in the playoffs right now. So maybe you'll have to come back during playoff time. We'll see.
Did you? I remember you said something about getting a cutout done, but did you see the one that was Bernie? Bernie's on there too. I saw that on Facebook.
Bernie?
Yeah, like Weekend with Bernie.
Dead Bernie?
Yeah, they got a cutout of him out there.
I've seen some pretty creative ones. I've not seen mine yet, but mine should be out there now. So keep your eyes open for me. I got a big red Ranger shirt on. Oh, that's right. Don't. Well, just watch the stands. Don't watch the game.
Oh, no. And I did tell you, though, the cutout, I think holding the hot dog, about to take a bite out of the hot dog is probably the best one yet. And I think if I were going to do one, I'd do that.
I just went, hey, how you doing? I just smiled. I didn't eat a hot dog or nothing. So, right. But, I saw some other teams are doing that, some successfully and some not so. I was watching I think it was Colorado last night. They have cutouts of all their players sitting behind home plate, but then that's all they got. No fans, no nothing. So different teams promote things in different ways. So the national news, I made a quick check. A couple of things got my attention. What about this young boy that was shot? I don't know his name off the top of my head. I think his first name was Colin. But
that's right.
And he was shot by a neighbor.
Yes, for riding his bicycle on the guy's yard.
And he had just been, the guy who did the shooting had just been in their home recently having dinner.
Oh, I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, and so then the boy is riding the bike or doing what he does. The other person comes out, takes the gun, and shoots him, kills him. Now, this kid's what, 5, 6 years old? Maybe I don't have the age exactly right. He's fairly young.
Right.
And, of course, there's always the question of race. He's a white kid shot by an African-American. All right?
You know why you don't remember his name? Because it hasn't been out there like the George Floyds and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, I just heard about this incident yesterday. I think it happened like Wednesday.
A week or so ago.
And so my question is, what has it not been reported on the mainstream media? If it has, it hasn't gotten very little attention.
Well, and Teresa and I were talking about this the other day, and one of the newscasters on Fox 4 said that they were getting a lot of flack because there wasn't a whole lot said about it. But they reported the murder. They have captured the guy that shot him. They said there's nothing else to report. So I guess unless we all got out there and started rioting and marching, that would be the only thing that would keep it going. But I've got something else on that too. The GoFundMe pages. I bet there's 7 or 8 GoFundMe pages out there for this same family. And there's one of them that had, at the time I looked at it, had $120,000. Wow. But there are others out there with $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever. Sure. And I wonder if they're actually going to the family. Or if somebody just, there's got to be fraud in this thing. Yeah, if somebody just puts one up just to raise some money and then the family doesn't get it.
I think GoFundMe is pretty legit, though. They take a cut, but they make sure the money gets to where it's supposed to go. They tell you up front they're taking a cut. They say do you want to pay an extra, $10 to cover the cost or whatever?
Right.
So, I've contributed to that before. I think they're pretty legit if it's through GoFundMe. Now, if it's just like, hey, everybody send some money in for the family and we'll get it to them, not so much,
Right. Now, I have seen bank accounts, set up for them and stuff, and I did that the other day. A friend of mine passed away.
Yeah.
And so, we just put the money in the bank account instead.
My favorite GoFundMe, and we weren't talking about doing this, my favorite GoFundMe story is a guy went to, I think it was either a basketball or a baseball game, or maybe he went to one of those college football deals where you're in the crowd and it's a pregame show, and he had a poster that he held up and said, "Hey, Mom, Dad, send money, need beer." So everybody thought it was kind of funny, and he put like a Vimeo or a Venmo account on his sign. Well, he thought that you might get, $50, $60, kind of as a joke. Maybe somebody feels sorry for him and he could buy a 6-pack of beer. The guy started getting thousands and thousands of dollars, and then it became hundreds of thousands of dollars. No. And at that point, he had to stop, and he said, wait. Then I think he lived up north where I think it was either Pabst Blue Ribbon or Old Milwaukee or somebody like that. They noticed what he was doing and said, you know what? We're going to contribute every dollar that you've got. We're going to match it, because he had said, I'm giving all this money to charity. I'm going to give it to, whatnot, charity. And then one of the beer companies said, we're going to match whatever you end up bringing in. We'll match it. And it was, it ended up being like, $250,000, $250,000 or more. And then the beer company said, and then we're going to make a collector's edition can with your picture on it.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And so they made it. I mean, they just finished that run a while back. And so, you never know where that stuff's going to take you. You don't do it for that reason. And he was doing it as a joke. He never thought that people were going to send money in. So, the other news item that caught my attention this week, and again, I've heard almost nothing about this, is that apparently there was some type of a peace treaty signed where, a group of Arab nations recognized Israel for like the first time in history. And this was done through President Trump and through his negotiations. And nobody seems to want to report on that.
Right. It's just a blip, and then it goes on. I don't understand that. Well, yeah, I do. I know exactly why. But the media is not Walter Cronkite.
So they don't want to give him any credit. Yeah. And that's the thing about the other story about the young boy too. You have to think if the circumstances had been different, had a young African American boy perhaps been shot, then maybe it would have been front page headline news about what is being done to small children of color in our world today. Or in this case, had this been Nancy Pelosi who signed this agreement, had this agreement signed, it might have been front page news because of look what this party is doing and look what the other party is not. It looks like the media is suddenly picking and choosing what stories they want to report based on if it supports their cause or not. And that's what's disturbing. If
this has been going on for a while, Dave.
Go ahead.
It's been going on for a while.
Yeah, if a small child is killed, they should report either way. It shouldn't matter if he was black, white, yellow, green. If that's the story, then let's report it. Let's not hide it, and let's not overhype it. Let's just report it one way or the other. If there's a peace treaty signed, hey, let's give the guy some credit if he did something good. We always are quick to blame him.
Right.
A friend of mine said, would it be funny if Trump won the Nobel Peace Prize for this?
For a reason.
And people not even realize that he had done anything.
Right.
And it's pretty good news anytime an Arab country recognizes the country of Israel.
Yeah, I know.
Very little airplay on that.
it's like, and of course, I'm sure the Obama administration is trying to take some kind of credit for some of this, because I think you and I talked about this, and the ex-vice president had said, it was something that we had started, and so it's just something that he.
Yeah, Joe was not trying to give Trump any credit when he mentioned that. Yes, that was a great event, but it was all started by Obama and Biden back during their administration. Even so, if Trump closes it, that's all that matters. You should report it that way.
That's right. And I saw a comment again on post on Facebook, and it was an argument back between a liberal and a conservative. And the liberal said, well, the only reason the economy is the way it is because of what Obama started. And that's crap. Yeah. That's not true.
That goes on every time, though.
But they believe it. They believe it.
Oh, well, it's doctrine to them. It is whatever, ingrained in their mind to say, well, the economy's doing good right now. It's because all the things that were done by the previous, just like I remember without a doubt, when Bush left office, and I guess it was probably Clinton that came in, Bush number one, and then Clinton came in, the economy took a real positive turn. Mm-hmm. And, of course, everybody was like, because of the things Bush had done toward the end of his administration, and Clinton just got all the credit. And it's just how it goes.
And I don't know. I think Clinton did some good things for the economy.
He probably did.
Yeah, because I think he was the first one in quite a few years that had balanced the budget.
Oh, yeah.
For a year. And I'm sure it may have been a paper whipping, but still, he balanced the budget.
We've lost giving the other side any credit, okay? We've just lost it. There should be nothing wrong with saying they had a good idea. We got to have a better idea next time.
Right.
Right. And if you did that and showed that kind of humility or sportsmanship or whatever the right word is, I believe that you would advance your party's platform 10 times faster than go, that's too bad. We started that. Well, that's what our idea was. Just say, nice job over there. We're going to do better.
Right. And of course, that doesn't happen anymore. And I think used to probably in the 30s, 40s, and 50s it might have. But I don't know if it takes that kind of person there's very few people that in politics that have humility. There are some. And I've seen some. I even saw a Democrat coming out with he was bashing his own party about a lot of the spending that they're trying to do and they're trying to push through that has nothing to do with the original reason why they're trying to raise this money in the first place. And he was bashing his party. And that guy, you know what? I'd vote for him probably, because at least he probably has some intelligence to know a dollar goes here, where are you going to find it? And we haven't done that for years.
No, I'm telling you, November is getting closer and closer. And of course, it's going to be probably a very spirited election.
You think?
I'm just shaking my head thinking that if Biden were to win, the platform that he runs on is just so much against the things that I believe in. I believe in smaller government. I believe in closed borders. I believe in immigration through legal means. I mean, I want people to feel that they can come to this country. I just don't want them walking across the street when nobody even knows they're here. I want them to pay their fair share and be a part of what we do and join in and have a way to do that. And so apparently there are people in this country who don't want that, who feel like people should just be able to walk in at any moment and not pay into the system and yet reap the benefits of the system. And that's just not me. I can't get behind that,
Right.
And then
it's funny because we have some liberal friends that listen to this podcast, and
well, hey guys, we still love you.
Well, yeah, they know I love them, but And it's funny because what you just said is basically the stand of the Conservative Party. And but there are people that I lean probably a little more right than you do when we start talking about politics.
Yeah, I know your NRA gold certificate hangs right there over the kitchen sink, so I got you.
Oh, but I did get a call from the NRA saying, you know, they're trying to shut us down and all this, and we need your donation. I said, you know, they're trying to shut you down in New York, but Texas will take you. Arizona will take you. Come on and just move it and bring it down here. And so I said, don't be calling me up trying to get money on a bullshit type call trying to raise money. It wasn't right. I didn't like it. And I support the NRA.
Anyway, and your liberal friends are upset that we don't agree with their platform, or what are you talking about?
No. They actually, she said, I wish I could be as, I don't remember the word she says, but as elegant in politics as you are, being able to say it without being
that's
confrontational.
You're a BS or better. That's what grocery store work does for you.
Ask customer service.
You sharpen your BS over the years so well.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, well, not as much as I used to.
Yeah. Well, you know, so I would love to just say President Trump versus Biden, which one do you like? But it's bigger than just the men. It's what's behind them. It's the belief of the parties that they represent. And, you know, Trump in many ways is an idiot. I really don't want to vote for him. But Biden's got nothing that makes me want to vote for him when I look at what they promote as a party. And so, you know, that's just me. And if you disagree, if you say, hey, I think anybody can walk over here and live in this country whenever they want to, then I'm all for it if you want to say that. But I don't agree with you. I'm not going to necessarily call you stupid or want to throw bricks through your window, but I'm going to disagree. We've quit having discussions anymore. Now it's just arguments or protests. We can't discuss anything anymore. And
you're seeing it in the protests, and that's something that I've been saying the whole time is, where is the leadership of that protest that sits down and says, let's talk about this. Yeah. Let's figure out a solution.
This is why
instead of being part of the problem. Because if you don't try to solve the problem, you are part of the problem.
No doubt. Well, we're not going to fix all the problems today, and my escape is to go back to sports, which you have boycotted. Jerry Jones came out for the first time in weeks or months, gave the Cowboys State of the Union. He said, "Go Cowboys." And he just said they were going to do the best they could to listen to the players, and he used the word grace. We're going to show grace. We're going to have grace. We're going to be thinking about grace. We're going to have grace towards this and grace towards it 17 times in about a 2-minute span. Not that I have anything against grace. Grace is a fantastic concept. So I'm glad to hear Jerry talk that way. That when he said, are you going to kneel? He's like, we're going to have grace towards our other, to our friends. So I don't know if he ever answered the question. But he's not coming out hardcore like he did previously by going, by God, if you kneel, you're not a member of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And again, I'm not going to watch it. But I like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, I have seen him talk, and I have met him several times.
Jerry?
Yeah. He is a hell of a businessman.
Oh,
he is the P.T. Barnum of National football.
Oh, yeah. He is. Well, that's why he made the Hall of Fame. Not by being a general manager, but by being a hellacious owner. He knew how to market and sell this league and his team more than anybody had ever dreamed of. His dad was in the grocery business. And they'd dress him up and set him out. He'd be outside in front of the grocery store, hawking people to come in. He's a heck of a businessman. I have like I said, I've met him several times, and he's a good guy. I really like him. I think his business smarts are right here on this social justice thing. He doesn't want to come out really on either side because it's not good for business.
Right.
It's not good for business because if he comes out with all these logos and things, you're not going to watch. If he comes out saying we're not going to talk about social justice, then people who believe in that cause are not going to watch. Right. And so as a businessman, he's thinking, I'm not really anxious to take a stand on anything. I just want to play football and have my team win the championship.
Right.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll see how the Cowboys do. I think they're gonna have a decent season. I'll be filling you in on that since you won't.
Yeah, please do. You know, and you know me, but heck, you and I met with sports. That's what brought us together.
Yeah.
And so
for you not to watch the Rangers or Cowboys, that's a major.
Yeah, for me to bail, that is a major thing.
Yeah, they need to be aware of that because you're not the only one that probably has that feeling.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And a lot of people are calling me crazy, I'm sure, too, or prejudiced or anything. And I have nothing against that. Again, I think we talked the other day. I read a book when I was a kid called Black Lives Matter. And no, Black Like Me. And it was written by a guy that lived in Mansfield.
Is that Dick Gregory? Who was that?
You know, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, but it shaped my my feelings about other African Americans or even Hispanics or everybody. And you know, I've never been mean to a black person or Mexican or Hispanic. You know, we had a store in a black neighborhood up in Cedar Hill that we built in '97, and it was probably 80% black up there at that time. And it took a while for them to actually accept us, and you know, but they did, and you know, it didn't matter. There were a few of them that came in that were truly prejudiced and wouldn't even take Teresa to be behind the counter and wouldn't even take the change back from her. And but they would, you know, then they'd tell us that, and that's okay if that's the way they believe. You know, I don't believe in open borders, so you can have your beliefs. We didn't get physical about it. We didn't get mad at each other about it, but just have your beliefs and go on. You know, that's what we need to do in this world.
All right. Well, we've said it before. We'll say it again. Just do better.
Just do better.
How about that?
I like it. Just do better, bud.
Man, I hope you have a great week. Stay cool out there. Don't go out in the sun too much. Make some money.
I'm not going to. We've got some stuff to do this week, but most of my stuff's inside the shop. So,
all right, just do better, buddy, and I'll talk to you down the road, okay?
All right, man. Good talking to you. Happy birthday, brother.